Hello, welcome to Ra-El Bull. I'm a professional astrologer and holistic wellness practitioner. Thank you so much for choosing to spend these precious minutes of your time with me today. This is the monthly general astrology overview for May 2024. I'm your host and guide, IFEYMERAEL. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to support this channel. I'm so grateful for your thoughtful assistance. May 2024 is yet another potent astrological month this year with 3 magical days. Magical day 1 is a gorgeous new moon in Taurus on the 7th. Magical day 2 is a super benefical high energy reset where we have a fortified Mars initiating a robust new cycle accompanied by 2 big divine conjunctions in Taurus. And magical day 3 is an ultra phenomenal high spiritual white magic day involving the benefics, Pluto, and a Sagittarian full moon. Let's quickly set the stage with some key astro background phenomena before we tackle those 3 marvels. Key background phenomenon 1. Mars and Venus are both in their home signs in May, both of which are super charged up by big planets and planetoids. Venus is in her home sign Taurus until the 23rd when she enters Gemini. Taurus is packed with energy, especially synergistic for Venus. The joyful, expressive, and revitalizing sun is here with her, as is her big brother benefic Jupiter. She's coming out of a very stimulating and high energy transit through Pisces, where she was divinely uplifted by Neptune on April 3rd, and where she did her dharmic reset with the lunar north node on the 17th. Mars will be in his home sign Aries all month. He's coming off his new 2-year cycle from his April 10 conjunction with Saturn in Pisces. He's sobered, grounded, wise, and committed now. In Aries, he'll rise to the fullness of his power. In sum, we have 2 high-amplitude, super high-functioning personal planets cruising through May, which optimizes our abilities to function and interact and succeed in all the ways connected with their energies. Key background phenomenon 2, Pluto action. Pluto goes retrograde on the 2nd at 2 degrees Aquarius, re-enters Capricorn on September 2nd, and stations direct on October 12th at 29 degrees 38 minutes Capricorn. He re-enters Aquarius about 6 weeks later on November 20, never to return again to Capricorn until 2254. That's 231 years. I spoke at length about this epochal shift in my January general astrology video, part 3. In very broad strokes, this powerful change is about a decentralization of power, revolution of societal structures with strong flavors supporting individuality, invention, and novelty. 2 personal planets in Taurus square him, Pluto, this month. Mercury on the 17th and Venus as the month opens on April 30th. The Mercury square can mean communication or mobility mishaps with authority figures. It can also mean our thinking about something relating to Plutonic themes, control, power, hidden knowledge, transformation, secrecy, and our personal evolution arrives at a crossroads. The Venus square to Pluto can mean conflict with feminine persons or feminine energies, or big transformations with the Venusian-ruled elements, money, property, beauty, pleasure, sensuality, or love. Thankfully, at the opening of the month, Mars harmonizes with Pluto on the 3rd, charging up our willpower, ambition, assertiveness, and passion. Next month, he'll square Pluto at roughly the same degree, 2 degrees Aquarius and Taurus, where Mercury and Venus square him this month. At that time, we could see a revisitation or reemergence of the same issues we encountered during the May Mercury-Venus squares. Another positive Pluto angle this month. Pluto sextiles and trines the Sun and Moon for the 23rd Sagittarius full moon, which we'll talk about presently. Key background phenomenon 3, Mercury action. Mercury quits his retrograde shadow in May on the 13th, so he'll be in his direct power for a few months. He conjuncts Chiron at 21 degrees Aries on the 6th, the same day the Taurus Sun sextiles Saturn in Pisces. We'll discuss that next. His conjunction with wounded healer Chiron can mean a new understanding about our lifelong wounds, an improvement in the way we communicate, or some positive development relating to our mobility and short-term travel. Mercury enters Taurus on the 15th, where thinking and communication becomes grounded, practical, productive, and patient. This is good because 2 days later, the 17th, Mercury squares Pluto, as we discussed, which can be challenging, as I've said. Key background phenomenon 4, solar blessings. Apart from the sun's conjunction with the moon on the 7th for the gorgeous Taurus new moon, the sun is making a number of other blessed angles in May. The sun sextiles Saturn on the 6th at 17 degrees Pisces Taurus. This can be an up-leveling in our discipline and commitment to our goals. It can also mean positive support from an elder male in our lives, like a grandfather or a mentor. He conjuncts Uranus on the 13th, the same day as Mercury quits his retrograde shadow. This will be the first major transit activating the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction that occurred on the 20th of April. We can expect a key development at this time stemming from that 14-year cycle reset. A couple days later, on the 15th, the sun trines Lilith, which can mean a great creativity boost, a personal catharsis, and or a healing of rejection or alienation wounds. The sun sextiles Neptune on the 19th. That's fantastic for creativity, and it's spiritually uplifting. Look for opportunities in spiritual and artistic matters. They'll very likely present themselves, especially if either of those planets is in your 1st, 5th, or 12th houses. The sun enters Gemini on the 20th, stimulating our mental capacities, communication skills, and strengthening or up-leveling our mobility. The sun trines Pluto on the 22nd. This is a strongly grounding, revitalizing, and positive transformational transit that promotes our creation of solid foundations in Saturnian and Taurian matters, financial, societal, governmental, institutional arrangements, and so on. Last, the sun conjuncts the great benefic, Jupiter, on the 18th, the same day Venus conjuncts Uranus and Mars conjuncts North Node. We'll speak much more about that when we discuss magical day number 2. On the topic of Venus, let's move to key background phenomenon number 5, more Venusian energy action in May. As I said, Venus is primed right now. She's loaded with a high quantum of energy as a result of her celebrated spiritual transit through Pisces and her reinitiation with the North Node in Aries. And now she's in her Taurian paradise, where the sun and Jupiter continue to uplift her energies. She's a gleaming star all month long, but especially on the latter 2 of our magical days. On the 13th, she's getting a sweet opportunity presenting angle with Saturn. That's at roughly 18 degrees Taurus, Pisces. And she conjuncts Uranus on magical date May 18, which we'll discuss in a few minutes. The following day, the 19th, Venus trines Lilith, just 4 days after the sun's trine with the black moon goddess asteroid, which will further amplify the healing and creativity boosts the sun activated. 4 days later, on the 23rd, Venus stars in another super magical day, which we'll talk about at the end of the video. Also on the 23rd, Venus enters Gemini, where we can expect to see new grace and beauty and loving kindness in the realms of both communication and mobility, in addition to the sun's positive influences in Gemini. Now that we've looked at the key background phenomena, let's talk about our 3 magical days, beginning with the Taurus new moon on the 7th. Magical day number 1 is a gorgeous new moon in Taurus on the 7th. The day following the Mercury-Chiron conjunction and the sun's sextile with Saturn, we have a beautiful new moon in Taurus at 18 degrees 1 minutes Taurus at 8:21 p.m. This is about 4 degrees away from the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction last month on the 20th. Both the sun and moon will conjunct that key point, 22 degrees Taurus, very shortly after the new moon is exact. So this is the first major activation of that Jupiter-Uranus conjunction. If you're unfamiliar with the power of that transit, see my April 2024 general astrology video. To put the icing on the cake with cherry and macadamia nuts on top, I'll point out that the new moon is exalted in Taurus, and Taurus ruler Venus is in Taurus right now. This is elegant, beautiful, robust energy. Last, those of you who watch my videos know how my numerological proclivities infuse my astrology. The Jupiter-Uranus conjunction point last month was at 22 degrees Taurus. Taurus is a foundation builder, manufacturer, and production dynamo. 22 is a master builder number. Finally, this new moon and the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction follows on intense Jupiterian Earth trines that dominated December and January's astrology. In sum, this new moon is truly an auspicious new beginning for us in unexpected and original and innovative ways. To know more, find out what natal houses 22 degrees of Taurus falls in your natal astrology chart. You're almost certain to discover some big new favorable beginnings indicated there. Magical day number 2, May 18. This is a super benefical high energy reset where we have an ultra fortified Mars initiating a high amplitude new cycle accompanied by 2 big divine conjunctions in Taurus. Mars conjuncts the North Node at 13 degrees, 33 minutes Aries. At the beginning of the month, he formed a sweet opportunity building angle with a superpowered retrograde Pluto, who reconfigures, re-equips, and reconditions him. Now, on the 18th, Mars reconnects with the head of the dragon, Rahu, also known as the lunar North Node, which is our aspirations, our destiny, our future, our dharma. In the next sign over, Taurus, we find 2 gorgeous divine connections that set up an even more magical cluster of transits for magical day 3, 5 days later. First, there's Jupiter conjunct the Sun. That's at 28 degrees, 18 minutes Taurus. This is rather magical. Jupiter is the ruler of spiritual, high-minded, intellectual, optimistic, and abundant Sagittarius, where the moon will be fully illuminated by the sun in just 5 days. So on the 18th, we have the great benefic injecting his joy, luck, and optimism into the sun, who will 5 days later illuminate the full moon in Jupiter's domain. Again, this is thoroughly positive and uplifting energy. You'll want to know in which houses 28 degrees Taurus and the Sagittarius full moon falls. I'm expecting beautiful, joyful illuminations about abundance and spirituality during this 5-day period. And there's another divine conjunction on the 18th. Taurus ruler Venus conjuncts Uranus at 23 degrees, 23 minutes Taurus. Let me briefly note the 23s here. 5 days later, on the 23rd, Venus will conjunct Jupiter at 29 degrees, 23 minutes Taurus. Venus is, of course, love, beauty, sensuality, pleasure, material goods, and wealth. Uranus is shocking breakthroughs, freedom, originality, and innovation. He's also the higher mind and divine wisdom. None of this means there are no shadow sides to Uranus. There are. He rules explosions and earthquakes, unexpected and shocking events of all kinds. We could encounter some surprises or difficulties with feminine persons or energies on this day, or with Venusian matters. So a word to the wise. This brings us to the final magical day, the full moon on the 23rd. This is an ultra-phenomenal, high spiritual white magic astrological day, which, like the 18th, involves both benefics. Additionally, it brings in Pluto and the enchanted Sagittarian full moon. Let's begin with Venus and Jupiter. On the 23rd, as I said, Venus will conjunct Jupiter at 29 degrees, 23 minutes Taurus. No matter who you are, this is one of the most favorable conjunctions there are. If you have heavy Pisces, Sagittarius, Libra, or Taurus in your chart, all the better. Love, beauty, pleasure, and wealth meet with abundance, luck, expansion, and joy. All of it happening in sensual, luxurious, abundant, peaceful Taurus. Let's do a full stop there. But it gets better, Astro friends. This conjunction forms a harmonious, opportunity-creating angle with an intensely spiritual planet in his home sign, Neptune in Pisces. This means both Jupiter and Venus are sextiling the god of creativity, divine love, unity, empathy, compassion, transcendence, and spiritual magic. Let's take them separately. The Jupiter-Neptune sextile occurs at 2:43 p.m., 29 degrees, 30 minutes, Taurus, Pisces. If you're familiar with my general astrology videos, you'll recall the Jupiter-Neptune conjunction on April 12, 2022, at roughly 24 degrees Pisces. That was the second major transit building up to the gate of the fire horse configuration coming in 2026. On this day, the 23rd, just a little over 24 months after that Jupiter-Neptune conjunction, Jupiter now forms a 60-degree angle with Piscean ruler Neptune. This is a beautiful hearkening back to the magic of that roughly 12-year cycle reset between these two intensely spiritual and benefic planets within perhaps the most magically spiritual sign of the zodiac, Pisces. Now, the Venus sextile. Venus sextiles Piscean Neptune at 3:50 a.m., 29 degrees, 30 minutes, Taurus, Pisces. While Jupiter is merely at home in Pisces as a co-ruler, Venus is exalted here. This is stupendously positive for our aesthetics in many senses: love, relationships, community, art, design, fashion. So let's look at how the Sun, Moon, and Pluto figure into the picture. The 23rd is the Sagittarius full moon at 6:52 a.m., roughly 3 degrees Sagittarius. At this time, retrograding Aquarian Pluto trines the Sun and sextiles the Moon. That's a pretty tight conjunction within a 1-degree orb, so it will be powerful. This full moon is fairly conjunct the Venus-Jupiter conjunction within a 3.5-degree orb. So all that magnificently positive energy is powering this full moon. And even more significant, perhaps, is the Pluto influence, which is a much tighter orb with its sextile and trine. Pluto's retrograde action means his power is likely to manifest in a more internalized manner and possibly a retrospective or backward-looking way. But the harmonious angle with this very powerful planet of control, power, transformation, secrecy, and evolution is immensely favorable. So that wraps up my general astro overview for May 2024. This is MAY-gick at its best. It's simply loaded up with blessed angles and aspects, especially the three most benefic planets and titans like Pluto and Uranus. The lunar action on the 7th and 23rd is tremendously favorable. All the personal planets are in good dignity and freely moving forward unhindered by the time we reach May 13. We see fantastically divine echoes of Jupiter and Neptune magic and astro-hydraulic up-levellings in Jupiterian-Uranian, energetically enriched master builder Taurus, whose divine goddess ruler is bestowing her gifts with grace and agape love. If you need to know how to discover where your houses fall within your natal chart, you can visit any search engine site and type free natal astrology chart. You'll have to key in your birthday and time if you know it and your place of birth. I recommend choosing the Placidus or whole sign house system. If given a choice, I'd start with tropical Western astrology rather than Vedic or sidereal. Or you can visit my site listed in the description below if you'd like your chart prepared by a professional astrologer. This video has provided some broad and generalized astrological advice. If you'd like customized and focused advice about a particular event or undertaking, contact me using the information below, and you can even place an order on my site. In addition to natal and electional chart services, I also provide Sophianic spirituality, higher self activations, and general consultations for spirituality, health and wellness, and career. You can also schedule time for a one-to-one consultation with me directly on my site. If you're in the Los Angeles area, please take a look at the online group I organized, the Los Angeles Shamanism Meetup Group. Last but not least, If you're interested in participating in a Sophia Circle journey, I'm a certified Sophia Circle journey leader who conducts both live in the Los Angeles area and online virtual circles. Instructions for joining can be found on my site on the services page. Thank you again for spending your time with me today. Ra'el.